now for the restart. This is going to be a shootout from here, goodness gracious.
Till XS type in the pit lane, and off goes the number 31 Whelen car, the red and white Felipe Nasr driven machine through turn one. Gets a really good restart. Ricky Taylor nowhere near being able to challenge Ollie Jarvis, weaving around left and right in the 55 Mazda. So is Olivier Pla, but he's got company, and that company is Loic Duval in the Mustangs Hampton JDC Miller Cadillac. Cadillac, Acura, Mazda, Acura, Cadillac, your top six with Renger van der Zande in sixth position at the moment, watching these cars ahead, battling out, and he is right under the rear wing of Loic Duval. That leading six cars have been side by side for the lead to turn six. That's an audacious manoeuvre, and it's a successful one for Ricky Taylor. What a move! Down at turn six, you have to have the cooperation of the driver you're going by there. It's so easy to close the door and end in tragedy for both, but Ricky Taylor has got the Michelins up to temp and pressure so quickly on that Acura, and there was no real defence for Felipe Nasr by the time he realised that Taylor was there coming off the top of the hill at 5 and down to 6. The pass was done. Brilliant move by Ricky Taylor, smart driving, and still on the track for Felipe Nasr, now in second position, Jeremy.
Yeah, brilliant move, opportunist move there. Look, there's either going to be massive fuel save going on here, particularly for that, well, for everybody really. 45 minutes, that's stretching it to get to the end from here without making another pit stop. Plus, of course, it's 5 or 6 laps of caution as well. So it's certainly going to be tight. Yeah, I think Ricky Taylor's gone, hey, look, if we have to make another stop, we have to make another stop. At least I've got the track position. And certainly, you know, the Acuras have gone longer than anybody else has in this race so far on fuel. So one has to, you know, they might be, one has to assume they are in better shape than the rest of the field. It's going to be really, really interesting now to see if anybody can stretch it, and if so, you know, can anybody else?
I think that yellow flag has taken us out of the opportunity for a new distance record at the front of the field. 125 laps was that record. Computer predicting 118 now. Now that will rise a little bit as we get back up to speed, but I'm not sure we'll get back close to that. I'll tell you in about 10 laps or so. This is going to be another one of those nail-biting races for DPi. Meantime, in GT Daytona, Turner Motorsport lead with the BMW M6 GT3. And when you're leading a motor race and things are going on behind you, you want experience. You want somebody who's been there, seen it, done it, designed and marketed the T-shirt before moving on to other media. And that man in this case is Bill Oberlin for Turner Motorsport. He leads it, heading up to the keyhole by about a second. Zach Veach at the other end of his career for Vasser Sullivan. Lexus RCF GT3 is chasing him down. They've won the last 3 races here. They're trying to make it 4 in a row. Lots of people have come to support them from Lexus and Toyota. Hello to David Wilson from Toyota Racing Developments, who I know is at the track here this weekend. They've managed to get all their schedules together, and as he said to me, the stars have aligned and we wanted to come and see the 2 new Supras and a potential 4th win for Lexus. Fantastic stuff as they are chasing down the BMW, and right behind them at a second and a half in 3rd place is Paul Miller Racing and Brian Sellers. And remember what Shea said earlier on, they had a spare set, an extra set of sticker Michelins, and I bet they're on that car now, and that will go to the end from here. That defensive driving, you never know, Jeremy. This is why I love endurance racing. You never know when the crucial part of the race is happening until we see the checkered flag. And Madison Snow earlier on doing all of that defending and saving a wee bit of fuel and trying to get through the race, and now his car's in 3rd position in a straight fight to the end. It might have been Madison that was the the key part of the race for Paul Miller Racing, and we just didn't really know it then. Brilliant.
Yeah, and taking advantage of those fresh tyres, perhaps to squeeze past number 23 Aston Martin, which has also lost the place to the number 76 Mario Farnbacher Compass Racing Acura up into 4th place now. It's Bill Oberlin who leads then for BMW. He's got about a second and a half over Zach Veach, who is trying to keep, Zach Veach who's going to try and keep that Lexus streak alive here at Mid-Ohio, won each of the last 3 years.
Brilliant stuff, isn't it? And behind Roscoe and Jeff Westphal's only another 0.8 of a second in that car bomb by Paragon Racing Audi. That's the number 39, the dark grey and bright green car. Then Andy Lally in the number 44, the almost chalk coloured car with the red roundels on the side. The Magnus with Archangel. Lawrence Vantour, yep, he's there as well in the FAF, the plaid Porsche. That's the number 9. And then Mark Miller right in there in that flip colour, number 66 Gradient Racing Acura. And to round off the top 10, the Allegra Motorsports Mercedes is there as well, just another half a second back for Daniel Morad. And by the way, that incident involving Morad, Vantour and Long, no further action. It was declared a racing incident. I think that's probably, I wouldn't have liked to make that call. I never want a job in race control making those calls. Under 40 minutes to go, which is just about the length of a stint for the DPIs. But of course they've been out for a wee while already now, albeit the first few laps of this stint under yellow flag. And there will be some frantic back and forth, I think, at the moment between the DPi teams and drivers. Everybody's been out for 10 laps and everybody had the first 4 laps behind the Acura, behind the Honda, safety car. And we have got 29 laps to go or thereabouts, so that's going to make it a 39 lap stint. Even with those 4 laps of safety car, that is awfully tight. If somebody decides to push hard here, Jeremy, and everybody has to push hard, surely they've got to have a splash at the end of this.
Yeah, I would certainly think so. I mean, the longest stint anybody has done was for 36 laps by that number 10 car. That's one of the reasons it's in the lead right now, because it needed less fuel at its last stop than some of these other contenders. But it's going to be a fascinating race. I really doubt they can stretch it. They will be hoping for another full course caution. Last lap time 13.2 for the leaders. They were doing kind of 12s, certainly 12s, fairly comfortably if they had clear track, which wasn't very often in the race up until now. The fastest lap of the race will be 12.188, which is a new lap record by Kevin Magnussen. That was way back on lap 11. It is a new lap record, then eclipses the mark set by Juan Pablo Montoya, the 12.2 last year.
Leaders are together, Jeremy, and fighting their way through traffic. They just cleared that through turn number 9 onto Thunder Valley, and it's target acquired for Felipe Nasr. I love the fact that even with the DPIs, and I know they're all based on LMP2 chassis and will continue to be based on the new generation LMP2 chassis, but the Cadillac has a slightly different personality, if you want to call it that, set of characteristics than the Acura. The Acura clearly warmed up its Michelin tyres very quickly, and that was used to good effect by Ricky Taylor. But now, in the middle of the stint, as we're getting into running, the Cadillac is coming back, and it's all starting to even out. And then we'll find at the end who's got the right car at the end. And I'm not entirely certain which of those 2 manufacturers it is, to be honest. And I can't wait to find out in another 36 minutes or so.
Agreed.
It's magnificent stuff at the moment. These 2 are right on it. Shea Adam, what do you have for this VP Racing Fuel Pit and Paddock report?
Or if it's the other manufacturer that's right behind them, don't count out Mazda yet, John. Bad news for Andretti racing fans. The Andretti Autosport number 36 machine has gone back to the garage with the problem. That car is not expected to come back out before the end of the race.
It was a good run for them as well in their debut in the championship. They'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I wonder why they seem to be dropping back a little bit. Oliver Askew dropping back a little bit from Colin Brown since we went back to green. I was wondering why. He's kind of holding up Dylan Murray there. But Dylan Murray now got to a clean track. He's going to try and track down Colin Brown, which is what he was doing beforehand, actually. But Felipe Fraga, he's got a couple of second lead in number 74 car for Riley Motorsports. And Rasmussen in second place, Colin Brown in third, a similar margin back. And this battle for the lead is well and truly on here between Ricky Taylor and Felipe Nasr.
And Nasr's got a wee bit of a run, but unfortunately there's no way to take advantage of it as they go past Andy Lally in the NSX. Goes to the outside at turn 4, then tries to come back. Mark Miller right ahead of them, the Gradient NSX. He's trying to keep up with Lawrence Vanter in the FAF Porsche that is the car right ahead of them through turn 6, up over the rise at turn 7. Side by side for Nasr and Mark Miller. Miller stays out of the way, does a good job. He can't do anything but be on the racing line at this point. And here comes the Mazda. The Mazda's in there as well. Ollie Jarvis has got that car up to pace. We're going to have the top 3 together here, Jeremy. There's a second between them at the moment. I suspect that once Ollie clears this traffic, he's going to be as quick as the 2 leaders. He might even be able to close them down a little bit. This is starting to build, and we've still got 34 minutes of it to go.
Yeah, and Jarvis was really held up by traffic there on that lap as he came across that.
Oh, so is the leader. Here's the opportunity for Nasr. It was the Aston Martin that unwittingly got in the way as they go up to the keyhole. This time around, inside the Compass NSX. Nearly said the wrong manufacturer there that I always relate to Compass. Out of the keyhole and down the hill, it's As You Were. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead. Jarvis is going to have to do a bit more work now.
Yeah, and I reckon these guys, they're going to be 2 or 3 laps short here. I don't see how they can stretch it to the end from here. So if that's the case, do you take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and come in and make your stop now, trying to get out in clear air and turn some faster laps without any traffic, so you can leapfrog these other guys, or do you hope there's going to be some sort of caution between now and the end of the race? Fascinating stuff.
Well,
lots of decisions to be made on pit lane, John.
Well, yeah, and we talked about this in our Porsche keys to the race. You've got to be flexible. This is probably not how everybody planned the race. Once it's like a live broadcast. You can't write a script for anything, can you? It's exactly the same in motor racing. 33 minutes to go as they cross the finish line on the pit straight this time around. Everybody is going to have to react to what's going on. Now, the 2 leaders are having a cracking scrap. 3rd is the Mazda. 4th is the Cadillac DPi Racing, Reiner van der Zande. He'll be enjoying himself at the moment, carving through traffic. Everybody trying to work out what the best thing to do is. Does someone like Pla or Duval, who's a little bit further back, Duval's 5 seconds, Pla's 5 seconds off the leading 4, do they roll the dice and come in for a splash of fuel that means that they can go full rich to the end? Now, they'll get caught if there's a safety car, but it
position to Reiner van der Zande, so he's lost some
exactly so. Well, we know that 0-1 car's quick. It was Magnussen that put the fastest lap in earlier on, and there's been people close to it, Jeremy. They're all within tenths of each other. 12-1 was the fastest lap. We've got 12-3s, 12-4s, 12-3s for all of the top category cars. But the fact that K-Mag put a 12-1 in, with no disrespect to Kevin, he's not the most experienced Imsa DPi driver here this weekend in that car. So there's pace in that Chip Ganassi car, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely right. And he's made a pass now. They're going to be right up behind Oliver Jarvis. He's chasing after Oliver Jarvis. You see all 4 cars on the same shot as they head down the back straight at full speed here, in excess of 175 miles an hour or so.
It's effortless for these DPIs. They really look well sorted here. Yes, you're absolutely right, Jeremy. But these DPi cars, we talked about it in qualifying. I compare the times that we were talking about in qualifying to what you were saying about the race lap record from the ALMS days, and you look at the amount of technology in these cars compared to the amount of horsepower, technology and cubic euros that were being spent on the Audis and the Peugeots and the Porsches back in the day, and they are matching those lap times, albeit in qualifying on a clear track. But we've been down to a 12.1 here. That is very, very quick indeed, and they're providing great entertainment. I think this is awesome stuff, and these cars, based on an LMP2, let's not forget, but with allowed suspension modifications, different engines, and crucially different aero as well. Actually, probably the suspension is the most important thing around the US tracks in particular. They handle the vagaries of places like Mid-Ohio, which is an old school track. They handle it so well, the drivers absolutely love them because they can drive the wheels off them, Jeremy, and that's what I want to see.
The 23 cars got past the 76, hasn't it, on this lap? So
that's the Aston Martin. Yeah,
Roscoe in the Aston Martin ahead of Mario Farbacher there, and right behind the two of them is Laurens Vanthoor in the number 9 FAF Racing Porsche. That's the car one last time out, and it will be poised here with the problem for the number. It probably won't take the championship. It will do with this new point system, won't it? It's actually the Aston Martin is poised to take the championship lead potentially.
Wow!
It came in 51 points behind. Sounds like a heck of a lot, doesn't it? With this new
350 points for a win.
Delete word point system. It was 350 points for a win. I think potentially the Aston Martin could lead here with points lead. It's going to be awfully close because the Porsche came in only 11 points behind it, so that's basically one position.
Hello to Christoph B on Imsa Radio. He's tweeted in, he says, you guys talking about the fuel. At the moment, the fuel guys on the pit lane are lining up shot glasses on the DPi pit wall. You might not be wrong there, Christoph. It's going to be very, very quick, and it will be timed pit stops. There won't be time to put tyres on, so you're going to have to take the tyres to the end as Laurens Vanthoor goes very wide indeed at turn 1 and takes out one of the WeatherTech boards there. In fact, he was following the line of the Compass Racing NSX, and right in behind the Carbahn car as well, the Audi Tyre Centre sponsored machine got a windscreen full of rubbish. I wondered why Laurens had wiped his windscreen. I noticed that he'd used his windscreen wiper. There must have been so much dirt on that car windscreen that he couldn't see anything, so it's the last thing you ever want to do in a racing car is use your wiper. Even when it's raining, you wait as long as possible because you know it's just going to make a greasy, horrible mess when you first start to wipe it. But there was so much dust and dirt there that Laurens had to use the single wiper on the FAF Porsche. He lives to fight another day. He's up to 6th position, Westphal behind him, then Mark Miller for Gradient Racing just 6/10 behind, and he's been setting that car's fastest lap after fastest lap. New car to that team. They've had Acuras before, but that is a new chassis, if you will, to that team, and at the moment they're sitting in 8th position and pulling away for Andy Lally in the Magnus Acura. Those two cars came to those two teams from Michael Shank Racing from MSR at the end of last season. Both of those cars with championship winning pedigree. So in the battle of those two former MSR cars at the moment, it's Gradient who are doing the job. The front of GTD, Oberlin by 4 seconds, has broken the toe from Zach Beach. It's going to take something very special for Lexus to get their 4th consecutive victory. Paul Miller trying to get in there. Brian Sellers, Paul Miller Racing in the Lamborghini, is the best non-front engined car, but Bill Oberlin has turned on the style at the front of GTD and the pace, Jeremy.
Brilliant stuff, yeah, he really has. He's used all his experience there. He's pulled out 4.5 seconds over Zach Beach, has Bill Oberlin in that leading Turner Motorsport BMW, looking for a win number 63, top line in his career of sports car racing in North America. He already holds the record. He took that by winning last year at Charlotte. over Scott Pruitt, and he's looking to extend that advantage here. But how's the 31 car kind of on its own there? No, they're all stretched out. The Mazda's stretched back. I'm surprised that somebody isn't coming in to make a pit stop early on here, relatively early.
Duval's 12 seconds away from the lead at the moment, and 6 seconds back from 5th in that Mustang sampling car. If they've got any fuel woes now, if they come into the pits in that number 5 car, where are they going to come out? No, they've got time to get in and out before the Turner Motorsport BMW comes around, and they will get out into clear air. I think it's a good shot for them, if they've got any fuel concerns at the moment, to come in, splash the fuel and get straight back out again. And that might, of course, set off, Jeremy, the domino effect, of course.
Yeah, but are they trying to? Is somebody here just trying to stretch it? I think it's going to be
14-2 last time around for Duval.
Yeah, I mean, the track's in fairly good shape. Just a few laps to go in LMP3. Dylan Murray set the fastest lap of the race in LMP3 at column 91, having the number 36 car pulled out of the way with its problem, unfortunately, for the Andretti Autosport team. Dylan Murray has closed the gap, actually, to Colin Brown. It was 4 seconds from Colin Brown to Dylan Murray. It's now just about 1.5 seconds. So Dylan Murray is making good pace there. Just looking at the leader's pace, that's what I was looking at. The fastest lap of the race had been set in LMP3, but the leaders, they're all doing 13s now, having done 12s earlier in the race.
Tell you who else is going to be tight at the end of the race, notwithstanding that there was some full course yellow at the beginning of it. All the GTDs are going to be tight as well, Jeremy. They've been doing round about 56, 57 minutes. They've been out at the moment for 38 minutes, and we've got 24 minutes to go. Do the arithmetic. Now, yes, there's some yellow in that, but I don't think you can go. Yeah, I don't think you can go full rich though to the end.
No, I think actually I just got a note from the Mazda team. I reckon they're 2 or 3 laps short.
Yeah,
I think getting to the end, and whether the Acuras can stretch it, I think that's probably the only car that might be able to. Just look at the balance performance coming into this weekend. There were a couple of minor tweaks. 1 litre fuel tank size less for the Acura and the Cadillac. So their fuel tank has been reduced fractionally by comparison with the Mazda coming into this weekend. There's a big spin. Is that Colin Brown?
I was not looking. Yes, it was Colin Brown who's gone off at the carousel. Now let's see if he can get that car back. There's some damage. He's not far away from the pit entry. He stayed out. Okay, that's fine. Let's take a quick breath at the moment as Shea Adam has this VP Racing Fuel pit and paddock report.
The star of the opening of the race was Harry Tincknell in the 55 Mazda, and he was incredible out there. I think we've actually lost him for the time being, John. I'll let you know if we get him back.
Okay, thank you, Shea. That's traditional, isn't it? As soon as you try to talk to somebody, they're called away to do something else when we try to talk to him. At Imsa Radio, hashtag Michelin PRT. And the show at the end of the race is driven by you. Points are rising, questions, etc. 22 minutes to go to the end of the race. Mazda coming under pressure now, Jeremy, from the Chip Ganassi Cadillac down at turn 4 at the moment. The 2 lighter coloured car in traffic.
Right, and the number 60 car is a couple of GTD cars behind it, behind that little battle as well. Side by side heading over the crest there. This is great stuff. In LMP3, very briefly, as the number 01 cars got past number 55, yeah, they were side by side heading out of 6th. So now up into 3rd position is Rega van der Zande in the 0-1 car for Cadillac Ganassi Racing, I think.
Van der Zande's had a great stint here, and he's really building on a great job. Van der Zande through and into third position. That's a great run, building on what was to be frustrating for Kevin Magnussen. Broke ranks at the start and cost them a drive through. Now ultimately that's not hurt them too much. Round the outside at turn 6 and then toughing it out at turn 7 and over the brow. That's a big boy manoeuvre from Renger van der Zande. Ollie Jarvis just going back one position. Shea Adam, VP Racing Fuel Pit and Paddock Report.
Well, let's try this again. The start of the opening stint was Harry Tincknell. Harry in the Mazda. It's been going pretty well for you guys so far. Dropping back a little bit. Can't make it on fuel. But what are you guys expecting for the end of this one?
Yeah, it's a crazy situation, really. I think they kind of really screwed us, unfortunately. But it was real fun opening 2 stints. I was just have put all my focus into just getting into the lead off the pole and just getting my head down and really just giving it hell. Lena was on the radio almost every lap, just telling me keep digging, push in, and I was just driving through the traffic as hard as I could, to be honest. It was really fun out there, and yeah, this has just completely changed the context of the race. I think everyone's saving like crazy now, so the 0-1 is either better on fuel or going on a more aggressive strategy, but let's see how it all pans out at the end. It's going to be exciting for sure.
The other thing to keep in mind, Harry, is that when the weekend began, you were only 8 points behind the DPi championship lead. Of course, that got cut down yesterday with your fantastic pole and coming away with the maximum points. So you guys have to keep that in the back of your mind too, don't you?
Yeah, we've been ultra consistent in the first couple of races, and yeah, to get the pole yesterday and be running up front is exactly what we need for the championship. Still a long way to go. But yeah, Ollie's doing a great job in the car, doing everything he can, and we have a fantastic team around us. I think a lot is made of the fact that even though we're down to 1 car this year, really the personnel involved is the same, so we almost have double the capacity of engineering and mechanicking capabilities that we did last year. So I think we're really seeing improvements in every little area, and now, you know, Multimatic Mazda Motorsports, it's kind of 100 things we can do 1% better rather than the big issues that we've had in the past. And I think we're showing we can really fight for the championship this year, and I really believe in this team, so it's a great pleasure to be a part of.
So the pit stops have been good today, the driving has been good. What's the missing piece? Luck?
Right now it looks like a little bit of luck, yeah, but let's see how it pans out. Still a long way to go, and I think we'll do some turns to come, see who can eke every bit of fuel mileage out of the cars. You could be seeing the tow truck coming and picking up or towing back a few cars into victory lane. We'll have to wait and see, but it's all going to be exciting.
Thanks to tied up in the Hackney Global Broadcast Centre. Great stints, mate. Really enjoyed watching that. Was there a difference? Was the car changing through the stint? You got a great start, sort of pulled away, then they sort of caught you back up again, and then you managed to get a bit more before the end of both the stints. Or was that just how the traffic falls? And I think we've lost Harry there. So thank you to Harry Tincknell, who was joining us from behind the paddock. Always difficult to do this when we're stretching the technology here and there, but thank you to Harry for that great insight. Thank you to Shea for that VP Racing Fuel Pit and Paddock report. Into the last 16 minutes then. 90.3 FM around the circuit, XM392 around the world on imsaradio.com in audio and in vision as well. If you're in a territory that does not have coverage in the US, of course, you're not already tuned in, and the last 16 minutes with our colleagues at NBC SN. So it's now all about the fuel numbers, Jeremy. And
Yes. The GTD is no problem. Of course, they can go. They can get to the end quite comfortably, as can LMP3 cars. But the DPIs not so much. And there's some frantic fuel saving going on out there right now. I guess they're going to try and stretch it to the end, but
it'd be impressive, Jeremy. We've seen it here before. You can't save fuel here before. I remember the LMS race when the old Audi R8s, the open top FSI cars, not even the diesels, and we were waiting and waiting and waiting for the pit stop. They can't make it, they can't make it, they can't make it, and they did. I mean, they must have been tickling the throttle at the end, but you can't save fuel here.
You can, but you can also the cars can go a couple of laps, a couple of seconds a lap quicker, and when they had sort of 20 odd laps to go, you can come in, make your stop, get out, and if you can go 2 seconds a lap quicker than everybody else, you can win the race on pace alone. So I'm surprised no one's kind of tried that, but hey, look, it's easier said than done, isn't it?
It's a big amount of. I'm hearing from a lot of people at the track who are trackside and closer to the racetrack than we are, and who are watching and listening carefully to Loic Duval. And they are tweeting at imsaradio.com, massive lift and coast. I'm hearing from a few people around at the moment. Also, I suppose there'll be people who are watching the onboards as well that are available at imsa.tv. So there are opportunities, but I tell you what, Jeremy, everybody's rolling the dice at the front of the field at the moment. I'm really surprised somebody hasn't popped in. There's still the opportunity for that Mustang sampling car to drop into the pits, although the problem now is they've got the 74 Ranch Riley LMP3 is where they would about come back out again. They've lost the opportunity to get back out in clear air.
Yeah, they're not. The P3 cars are probably not going to be held up by too much. I think the pace advantage in the places that's critical is good enough, I think. But we're now within 30 minutes to go, so we're within 10 laps at the end of the race. But 20 laps ago, if you look at the last lap time by Loic Duval, it was a 14.3. His best lap in the race was a 12.6. In qualifying yesterday, they were in the 10s. That's a chunk of time you're giving up, and as you say, you're losing about 30 seconds by making the pit stop here. Surprised no one's taking the gamble, going for it.
Yeah, Christoph B just asking what's the delta through the pit lane. It's about, is it 24 seconds? Did we time that earlier in the weekend, Shane? 24, 25 seconds? A little bit more than that?
It's between 23 and 24, depending on your pit lane speed limiter.
Because nobody's got them spot on.
So 50 laps, that's a second and a half, and you can make that up.
Yeah, I agree. And if you're sitting in sixth, if you're the Mustang sampling car, you've got to be really, really sure that you can make the end, because they've now dropped.
And that the others can't.
Yeah, they've now dropped 24 seconds behind the leader. That's another 10 seconds that they have dropped to the leader. Now, maybe they're not thinking about the leader, maybe they're thinking about the other Cadillacs, because they will know better what the Cadillacs can do. But even so, the opportunity for them, they were in sixth, they would be in sixth. They're not going to be any further back, but they could potentially pull something off. Look, it's risk versus reward, but I just think you're that far back, you might roll the dice. Nasr with Van der Zande and Ricky Taylor. Nasr with Ricky Taylor now ahead of him. He's closed back down again within just about half a second, Jeremy. First and second.
Yeah, he has. That's right. It was pretty stagnant for quite a long time, at around about a second and a half between 1.2 and 1.5. Less than just over half a second last time around. It was a complete lap 12. And lap time for the leader that last time was 14.2, so he had some traffic to contend with. They're all once again working their way through the GTD cars one more time. And in GTD, by the way, big battle developing for second position. Zach Beach still holds it, but what was an advantage of, actually not very much, is now even less, I think, over Brian Sellers in third place, with Ross Gunn hot on his heels as well in fourth. And then behind Bosch Guns, a bit of a gap back to Mario Farnbacher and pretty much the rest of the field in GTD.
Yeah, and we've got, 10.5 minutes to go. The checkered flag comes out, ends the race, but not the conversation. This has been interesting. Long time since we've been IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship racing. Time for you to have your say at the end of this on RS2 IMSA Radio. It is Michelin Post-Race Tech with you driving the editorial content. You tell us what you want to talk about. You ask the questions to which you want answers. It's at IMSA Radio, hashtag Michelin PRT, and you can listen to that on RS2 IMSA Radio. Michelin Post-Race Tech then, after the checkered flag. Trying some more interviews as well with some of the drivers to answer some of your questions. 9.5 minutes to go. Bill Oberlin by 4.8 seconds in GTD from Zach Veach for Vassar Sullivan's Lexus. BMW, Lexus, Lamborghini just another 0.6 further back. Ross Gunn another 0.6 further back in the Aston. Then a bit of a gap back to Super Mario Farnbacher, 8 seconds, but he's got Lawrence Van Ter right with him. And he is battling very hard indeed. And Jeremy, this is going to be, I still think this is tight for DPi at the end.
Yep.
2 laps, was it 2 laps we said, Shea, that the Mazda was going to be short?
2 to 3 is what I've been told for the Mazda, the Acura leading the way, and the Cadillac in second. Now, the thing that I'm perplexed about, John, is I mentioned to Harry Tincknell on the phone that Harry and Ollie in the Mazda, and Ricky Taylor and Felipe Albuquerque very much embroiled at the head of this DPi championship. But coming into the event, in last place in points were Felipe Nasr and Pipo Derani. They're currently in second. If they think they're going to be close on fuel, why not chance it? If you come home 6th, you're not losing any points in the championship. At least you're not losing anything you haven't already lost.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And there's something about this track that just gives us good racing. 8 minutes to go now. Keep an eye on that clock. Keep an eye on the laps that are being clocked up and ticked off by the leaders at the front of the field. They're already on their 36th lap of this stint, albeit with, 4 laps of yellow at the beginning? Yeah, 4 laps of safety car at the beginning. Was it? Right, okay. Yeah, actually.
Pitted on lap 80, went green after 85.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, and there was 2 before they came in, but that was the previous stint, of course, so it doesn't affect the amount of fuel they've got in now. Everybody's in the same boat, Jeremy. There's no tactics now because everybody put the fuel in at the same time. So now it's who's got the right fuel map, who's got the right fuel numbers, and who trusts the drivers to do the lift and coasting. And right at the moment, Ricky Taylor at the front of the field, you'd take his position because he's now got 2.2 seconds. It was 0.6 of a second the last time I looked.
Yeah, I mean, much of the reason for that is who hits traffic where, certainly. They just worked their way past Jar Barbosa, number 33 car, who's a lap down to the rest of the field in LMP3. We haven't seen much of the LMP3 cars, but the top 3 are each separated by around about 4 seconds, and have been now for a fair amount of time. Actually, Rasmus Lind did get within 2 seconds of Felipe Fraga about 7 or 8 laps ago, but Fraga, the Brazilian, has extended that again, and is now 4.2 seconds between first and second. So Riley Motorsports ahead of Performance Tech Motorsports. Riley Motorsports in third place, also Dylan Murray. He made some grounds towards catching that group, but now seems to be settling back into a similar pace, and those top 3 pretty much equidistant. Colin Brown with that spin, a fairly distant 4th now. in LMP3. So it looks like that core Autosport streak is going to continue. As Shay was telling us earlier on, that team has never won here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The best they've finished is a second place. That was back in 2012. But even that wasn't Colin Brown and John Bennett. In fact, it was Alex Popov and Ryan DeYell who finished in second place in the second core car, 9 years ago.
Lock up on the right front for Felipe Nasr going into the keyhole in the number 31 car. Clear track for the better part of this lap for Ricky Taylor, a 14.4 last time around. Let's see what he does with fewer cars in front of him, and let's see what sort of pace of people are setting in the DPIs. It was a 17 last time around for Ollie Jarvis, and that means Ollie Pla has closed him right down. He's followed that up with a 13.8 to Ollie Pla's 14.6, so he has responded a little bit, but that is a battle now between the two Olivers for 4th and 5th position. The Mazda number 55, the black and pink MSR Kurban Agajanian number 60 Acura, and they are having a battle. It's not quite the backwards cycling race, Jeremy, but there's definitely some serious fuel saving going on as we've still got... Oh, and into the pit. Pla can't make it, and the first to blink is the number 60, Shea Adam.
Well, I was about to say, this continues another streak. Jeremy pointed out the core Autosport, but MSR has never won at their own track, Mid-Ohio. Taking the chance, taking the leap first, 6 seconds worth of fuel to Olivier Pla with 4 minutes to go on the clock. If everyone else runs out of fuel, this could be Meyer-Shank Racing's day.
Well,
let's rely on everybody else running out of fuel. Everybody else running out of fuel. I think why didn't make this stop earlier on and pursue the strategy, or somebody didn't do that. I'm just really surprised.
Me too.
Because I would have thought you're not going to hope that everybody else runs out of fuel. In my mind, isn't really a strategy.
Well, they've come out with a bit of a gap. They're going to catch the Heart of Racing Aston first, and he's in a gaggle of cars. Of course, Ross Gunn battling with Brian Sellers.
That's not really relevant though, where they are.
Not with 3.5 minutes.
No, they're down the road.
Yeah, not with 3.5 minutes to go. I'm with you, Jeremy. I just don't understand that. Where is the leader? Answer coming up to the keyhole with 3 minutes to go. A 14.7 again last time around for Ricky Taylor, as he is now on his 40th lap of this stint. Again, remember, with some yellow flag laps. There's a lot of people who I'm not sure know, Jeremy, on the pit lane at the moment. All of the technology you've got to hope that you can pick up the last litre of fuel to get you home. Just unbelievable stuff. And the lead at the front of the field back down to 1.3 seconds. Even if you slow off at this point, you might still be giving up a good position. This is still edge of the seat stuff.
Yeah, and it's not going to be white flag this time, John. It'll be white flag next time. So it'll be, you've got 2 complete laps to go from here. There's 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. So it's 2 more laps they've got to do, these guys.
Oh my goodness me. Edge of the seat stuff. It was all going so very well for so many of the teams. And into the pits for Renger van der Zande. It's another Cadillac. The 0-1 in, Shea Adam.
So we've had an Acura, we've had a Cadillac. We only have one Mazda out on track. We have another Acura out there and 2 more Cadillacs running around. But I'm curious to see how much fuel they put in that Chip Ganassi Racing Cadillac, because it should be less than 6 seconds worth. That's how much they put in Pla, and indeed it is.
It's 2 laps. They needed 2 laps. Jarvis and the Mazda team thought they were 2 laps short. There's 1.5 laps to go, so they've done better than what their calculation stands. 1:14.8 by the first 2 last time around. Ollie Jarvis a 14.5. He's back into 3rd position and on the podium for Mazda. It will be white flag this time around. There is another 2.4 miles or thereabouts when they pass the pit straight this time. Ricky Taylor comes through. There's tension on the pit wall. at Konica Minolta Racing. Now, if there's anything left for Nasr, he's got to use it now. Wayne Taylor does not know. He does not know. There's heads in hands on the pit wall at the moment, and here comes Nasr. Nasr's pushing. Nasr thinks he's got an opportunity here. He goes a wee bit wide into the keyhole. Down the hill now. Engines still seem to be running well. Down into turn 4. Traffic ahead. They've got an LMP3. It's the leading LMP3, Felipe Fraga in the Riley Motorsports. They're going to catch him in a moment or two. There's an opportunity. He's right there. Nasr is right there. The black and blue car is the leader. The red and white is in second, and they've got traffic, including the hardpoint EBM car. Turn 9, they're side by side for a moment as they come through the traffic. There's a decent run for both of them here, and there's an opportunity at the carousel for the final time. Nasr looks down the inside, tries to position the car, can't get it up the inside. Absolutely extraordinary run to the line. It's going to be Acura. Acura again at Mid-Ohio, and Konica Minolta win it by the finest of margins. 0.3 of a second at the end. The fuel numbers were right. Might have been a guess, but they were right. They've got there. Jarvis comes through in third for Mazda Motorsports after a wonderful run by Harry Tincknell, and we're still waiting for them, the rest of the cars, to come through. It's Riley Motorsports 74 from Performance Tech, 38 in the Battle of the Ligiers in LMP3, and the second Riley car, Dylan Murray, will bring that home on the podium as well. All of the prototypes have got to the end, so it's Mustang sampling from Cadillac, Chip Ganassi from Meyershank Racing, but 40 seconds back from MSR in that Acura. Why didn't they pit earlier? My goodness me. And in GTD, Bill Oberlin crosses the line. Robbie Foley started the Turner Motorsports car. It'll be an all-tackle Monday for Will Turner and the team. That's how they celebrate, and they break the stranglehold of Lexus. Vassar Sullivan second with the 12 car. Heart of Racing in third at the end, just ahead of Compass and Mario Farnbacher. Then Faf, then Carbon. What happened to... Check that. My apologies. Third place for Brian Sellers and Madison Snow, Paul Miller Racing, as they come through on the podium. And then it was Ross Gunn, Farnbacher for Compass, Faf, Carbon, Gradient in 8th, Magnus, Allegra for the top 10. Shea Adam, let's go down to the drivers who have, some of the drivers who have finished the race for this VP Racing pit and paddock report after an extraordinary end to a brilliant race. Who've you got?
Gar Robinson, race winner at the Rolex 24 Hours at Daytona, pole winner for the first time yesterday, and now race winner at Mid-Ohio. How good does it feel to have that next to your name?
Well, phone signal letting us down a wee bit. Not hearing Gar there from the paddock, but they are celebrating for that Ranch 74 sponsored Riley car. We'll give him another go in a second. Jeremy Shaw, well, that was a finish of a race. That was a finish of a race. I'm not sure that Wayne Taylor knew whether that car would get to the line or not.
Yeah, right. There was certainly a lot of his fingernails. They're usually fairly well bitten, I think. But today they would be not much left of them at all. That really was a nail biter for that team. But brilliantly judged. A great drive, great first stint by Felipe Albuquerque, and then Ricky Taylor. He did the job again. 3 wins in 4 years here for Ricky Taylor. Fantastic performance. He made an opportunist pass at the restart on Felipe Nasr and held him off the rest of the way. I mean, once again, then the number 31 car for the second year running has to play second fiddle to Ricky Taylor. That's going to be frustrating, particularly by this margin, 0.368 of a second. That's all there was between them.
That is just extraordinary stuff. We will try and get some driver interviews. Michelin post-race tech coming. Hashtag Michelin PRT on RS2. And with a bit of luck, we'll try and get the LMP3 winner back on the line. Gar Robinson is waiting for us. Let's give it another go, Shay.
Let's see if we can get Gar this time. I know the cell signal's very spotty in Mid-Ohio, but Gar Robinson, race winner at Mid-Ohio. That opening stint, you actually got to battle a bit. How much fun was this race?
Oh man, it's this place is such a chess match. I mean, it's you have multi-class cars. The multi-class racing is just incredible. But this has always been a pretty good track for me. It was my first win back in the Trans Am days, my first pro win, and happy for it to be. And you were there, so we